Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Innovate Queensland Grid webinar for giving research ideas and direction. My name is John Matthew from Impact Innovation Group, and we deliver the Innovate Queensland program, which supports the Queensland Government's Advanced Queensland Initiative. Today we have Cameron Johns, General Manager at Impact Innovation Group, to share his first-hand experience as a Myriad presenter and provide tips moving forward based on survey responses gathered from the event. Hear what attendees said led to valuable connections and what others said that they would definitely do differently. This is more of an open forum type webinar, so please feel free to post questions during the presentation. Just while we're waiting for other people to connect into the webinar, I'll go through some of the tools we'll be using for those people who haven't used or viewed a webinar using the Citric GoToWebinar systems before. Your screen should look like this: the slide in the center and a control panel or dashboard on the right. This control panel will collapse automatically while you're not using it. So to keep it open, just click the View menu up on top and uncheck Auto Hide Control Panel. During the webinar, we may ask you questions to better understand your experience with the topic. We'll ask you to raise your hand, and to do that, just click on the little blue hand icon on the side of the control panel. Remember to lower your hand afterwards just by clicking on the icon again. There is also a very strong opportunity for you to ask questions during this webinar. So during the webinar, we will have a few questions spattered throughout the event, but in order to make sure the webinar flows smoothly, we'll stick to the time allocated. We prefer to answer questions at the end, but please feel free to send questions as they occur to you. You can also use this function to let us know if there's any problems or issues with audio or visuals. We've also have some handouts for you. Cameron has very kindly provided a copy of the slides for downloading and perusal after the webinar, so please use this section here to download them. Now in a moment, I'm going to hand the screen over to Cameron. Cameron Johns develops strategies for meeting the rapidly changing marketplace for all Australian enterprises at all stages of the business lifecycle. He has specialist skills in the execution of turnaround of realignment projects, as well as capitalizing on new markets and ideas. With over 20 years experience as an innovation practitioner, Cameron has helped numerous inventors, startups, SMEs with business model development and capital raising. Cameron's experience includes senior executive management appointments, board memberships, business ownerships, and startup director roles. So Cameron, welcome to the webinar.
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone. I'm just sharing my screens, making sure everyone can see that. Right. Welcome. I see that we've got a few people on, and thank you. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of and hearing some of the questions that people might have, or even sharing their experiences. If you want to write a note to John to share some of your experiences, if you're able to get to Myriad, that'd be fantastic. So welcome. We are today is Innovate Queensland program, getting the most out of Myriad. This is the continuation of getting the most out of Myriad that we have as part of a series that we had a program before Myriad, and then we've held an event last Friday, which was down here in Brisbane, and today is more of an extension of that to be able to connect with other people across Queensland, maybe even for some of the people that came down from the regions, that I'd really love to also extend that, just to look at those ideas around so how to get more out of Myriad. Yeah, so I should, just for anyone that doesn't know me, so I'm Cameron. I'm the General Manager for Impact Innovation Group here in Queensland, and also help to run the Innovate Queensland program. And yes, years of working in the area of trying to help people take their ideas into the market, and also done it myself. So that's where I would be coming from in what sort of background I would like to talk about. And so then I'll just click through. There's a little bit of a delay, so you'll see these things sort of pop up, which is just all about the program, so that you can actually understand. Well, we went a little bit too far. There we go. So understand more about it. So we're Impact Innovation Group, working in collaboration with Presence to deliver the Innovate Queensland program. We have pathways programs. We have a number of different areas that we work under Innovate Queensland. We have, as you're hearing us today, with the GRID program, giving research and ideas direction, that we have a webinar series. We also have events. So we have physical events that are out across the region. So there's a number of ways that we're here to help. This is for a Queensland government program, and certainly also working very closely aligned with Advanced Queensland. So just a really sort of a note there, this workshop is designed to help with the what next from your experiences. So please ask questions. And I just want to write a little note. It's a little quick note there to say, I'm not going to be able to give you advice, particular advice on whether or not you should take the $1 million for 1% of the company. If that's what happened for Myriad, we're here to probably ask and help you with some a little less personal questions from that. I'd want to know a little bit more about the business before I was giving you that type of advice. We wouldn't necessarily want to give advice. We might give you some more support around how you would make those decisions. So a little recap. I want to just a little quick recap first. What we were saying with all of Myriad was, for everyone that was coming from the regions, that you've got an opportunity to pitch yourself, but also your region. So I'm hoping that people did use that opportunity that we were down in the Myriad event to actually help drive your region, not just your idea. So I hope that was something. We did say some things around set goals, be realistic. Who do you want to meet? And that's an interesting one, because in some of the feedback that we've been able to see, and we asked for feedback, and from our workshop last week that we had, some people said that they'd noted others had turned up at Myriad with a hit list. They actually knew exactly what they were going to do on the days that they were there. They had people to see, and they just progressed through them. And hopefully they're either really good at executing and getting the most out of it. It may be that's from listening to these workshops, because it's that's absolutely what we said is create a schedule, make sure you know who you want to see. So that is hopefully a useful one that I've seen people that used it this year. I actually bumped into another past colleague, and he was racing from meeting to meeting. If you're going to go to it, make sure you get the most out of it. So that's important. Another one that we talked about was walk in their shoes. Put yourself into the shoes. Who you're trying to meet, understanding a little bit more about where they are. I mean, and understanding also, when you see Myriad, there's a number of different areas. There was the garage, and then there was upstairs. There were different places. So where would those people be? And then, John, were there any other questions that we'd had quickly? I might ask you that.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the key questions that kept occurring were, are there any follow-up innovations event that we should be going to in Brisbane or around Queensland?
And that's a good one. We will work towards that. I've got some on slides on that as well. So thank you, Will. I'll answer that question in just a second, because I've got a number of areas that people that might help with that. And as we did say, 2 business cards, making sure you have your pitch ready. I think you had a question around that as well.
So I made some great connections at Myriad, but I'm unsure how to approach them after the event. Is there a better way to improve engagement beyond just simple coffee catch-ups?
Yeah, that is a good question, and we did this straw poll as well last week in the workshop. Yeah, so what's next? It definitely is important to follow up early. You've got a good opportunity. And that's where, again, understanding what's the nature of what you've already spoken to them. Don't just do your pitch again. It might be that you are only going to get a coffee meeting, but making sure that you're driving that towards something. So it might be that, in the thank you, I'd love to have a coffee meeting, and my intent is to talk further around how my idea might align with you, that so that, with the ultimate opportunity of you either seeking to invest in us or to come on as a collaborative partner. So I'd be sort of open in that. If you you can only get them for a coffee, I'd also just be driving, just not to say, yeah, love to catch up. So thankful for you for giving me 10 minutes so I can buy your coffee. People know why they're there. I'd be honest and letting people know a little bit more about the intent. and then we said, yeah, pick the battle. So I think we had some really good ideas. You know, in being in Myriad and seeing what Myriad was this year, there were lots of people running around. There were some amazing events that were happening, multiple events happening in multiple breakout rooms and on the main stage all at the same time. And so you can see here, I just wanted to get a capture. I took this from Myriad's Facebook page that you can see there was a lot of interest, and there was genuinely a lot of people doing, trying to make a lot of different connections. So it is a really interesting one that I think from it, it will really now be what people do to actually take the initiative and make something out of those connections. I will do this again just as a really good recap. So what else should you do? Don't forget that there are programs like the Ignite Ideas programs that is out there that will come in rounds, but it could be a really interesting way if you're needing to seek funds. And we've also got our other webinars that are here on crowdfunding, pitching, that I think would also be of use for people. So I just wanted to have those there. That'll be in the handouts. So I have got these in what investors are looking for, but I might even just jump over that for now because I think it is an important one. Just answering that question that you had, John, and I know it was a number of people last week asked the same thing. So what's next? I think one of the places to go is using Advanced Queensland, using the resources that are there for you. Yes, that you can see that there's Myriad and there's also a number of other programs that are after that help people. So what would I say for the regional people that are out there and anyone across Queensland is look towards this Advancing Regional Innovation Program. Here are some of the partners that I think and programs that can help you post Myriad. So if you're looking to keep connected and to know what's happening in your region, here's the actual slide from the website. This talks a little bit about what the ARP program is, and down the bottom you can see here we've actually got the link to it, and you'll see the two little purpley pink highlights. This there's one there that says 12 innovation regions. This is actually a fantastic place. It actually shows you where all the regions are, so to know where you are and who you should be talking to. And there's also program recipients. So between these two, that'll tell you which region you are in, and then who are the people that you should be connecting with if you haven't already connected with them. They're a great place to start. There's also some other support that I would be saying. Clearly, there are also other places and support areas like Innovate Queensland, like our program. Please sign up for events. You can sign up. You can even friend us on LinkedIn or find us through Join Up as part of the GRID program on LinkedIn, or find us on Facebook. So, or even sign up for getting our newsletters and announcements of when we're going to be in your region. That can be a great place to find out what other support is there. And that's a useful one. We also will work with ARP, but I think that's a useful one to actually understand where else and who else is providing help and assistance. And then finally, one of the other areas I would have to say is the My Innovation Advisor. I've got our website up here. This is a free 1-hour service to help people. So this is a great way to get experience that getting help for your particular need, not just for general help, but your particular need. So I've got some other slides, John, but I'm still really happy. Are there any other questions that you can see coming in?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, and something a bit more proactive. Matthew would like to know, how do I get invited to present or be involved in Myriad 2019?
Yeah, that's a great one. I certainly know that a number of people that were that there are people that are supported from the regions to come down to Myriad, so that could be a really nice one too. That I think you definitely could look towards putting your hand up to let Myriad know. I know they're probably a well-deserved break at the moment. I think that would be. We all should let them have a couple of days off to relax after the event. But I would be putting my hand up. I'd be certainly saying things around why maybe they are. You'd want to show why you might be of interest. What sort of technology, or what has your business got, or maybe what is your background, your unique experience. But certainly I'd be approaching them to at least let them know you're interested. Yeah, that's a really good proactive question. Anything else?
Yeah, one more here. I think it's probably touching on that. How can I engage with the innovation community more beyond just going to networking events and workshops?
Yeah, so that's definitely putting your hand up and being a part of part of the groups that are in those different regions. There are regions here from Brisbane, the Gold Coast, all the way up to the Tablelands and out towards the great group that's out in Longreach, and there are groups across Queensland. I'd be putting my hand up to go to those events. I'd be certainly going to the some of the different places. Maybe if it's like split spaces in Mackay, I'd be definitely getting along to those events. It's an important one because and this comes, so being a part of it, getting in and meeting other people comes to probably 2 points that I would say from a number of the insights we found just from last week, and I'm sure the people that are listening on might find the same, that people found that they had a hit list of people that they thought they really wanted to hear their story and they were going to get lots out of, and they did get some good information, but everyone that was there said that it was some of the other sort of fill-in events. They were there and they thought, oh, well, I'll drop in on this talk or hear somebody else on the main stage, that they found some really amazing insights. So what I would be saying is make sure you're engaging. Even if you're a startup, make sure you're engaging. Maybe even go to a Chamber of Commerce event in your area. Go along to networking or even business or workshop events, because you might find, like these people did at Myriad, that you find knowledge in different places. You might find amazing people. That could be that people are in the room. So, sign up, go to maybe the Office of Small Business Work when they've got their week, Small Business Week. Get out there, because there was a study done many years ago now. They looked at that. They say that 70% of businesses fail and disappear after 5 years. And so they wanted to have a look and see what was the secret recipe. What did that other 30% do that made them so successful? And there wasn't, unfortunately, there's no magic recipe to what it was, except that they found that everybody, 100% of those people that had survived the 5 years and went on to have successful businesses, they'd got out and gone to 3 workshops or networking events each year, that they'd got out from their desk, they'd got out from working in the business and started engaging with people. So I think it's really critically important that you get involved. Maybe not just looking for innovation talks and another great event on how to run a lean business or create a lean canvas, but go and listen to maybe an older business person talk about their experiences in business. There's knowledge in everything. So, are there any other, John? I'd still like trying to answer some of those different questions if we've got any more that have
come. Just to bring this one here. Laura would actually like to know, is there a way I can validate and prioritize opportunities and connections before I start engaging?
Yeah, that is a great one, because it is great to have. You might have a great hit list of maybe 10, 5, however many. Maybe it's 100 people that are saying yes. I think it's an honest one to really either have conversations with the people to ask them to say, I'm really, really keen to follow up with you. Are there areas that you feel that are interested? It might be that can I solve a problem for you, or do you just want to learn more about my business? I'd be asking them why they would like to spend a bit of time as well, and also be realistic in where you're up to in the venture. Do you have enough to then start raising capital, or do you really need to answer some more questions? So maybe is it more important to catch up with maybe somebody that can connect you into the research sector to get validation for your idea before you go and ask for $100 million? So I think there's, all of the conversations are very useful. You can always get something from talking to people. But I think you have to look at where you're up to in your journey to take your idea and create success that you want from it. But I think that's an important one. I mean, that could be a perfect area for maybe half an hour of your 1 hour consultation with my innovation advisor is to actually go through and do the assessment of where you're up to in your business process. How far are you ready? Are you completely ready to go to market? That having that independent person could be a great one to help you with who's next on the list. But if you've got people interested to talk, I don't think it's ever a bad idea to at least talk with them. So long as you've got your IP and you understand you've got some protection and you do have some understanding around how to communicate your ideas without losing all of your intellectual property, if that's of importance to you.
Absolutely. Just on that note, is it worthwhile almost creating like a preliminary checklist for different opportunities? That way you can pretty much validate potential opportunities then and there before you start deep diving?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's where, again, those making sure you're not making assumptions around why they are interested in you, sort of even asking them, why. I'm really thankful for the opportunity to have a follow-up meeting, and what did you particularly like might be a nice thing to at least understand why they're doing it as well. Because sometimes people have KPIs to get out and meet people, so you would not want to be thinking that they were preparing to write you an offer document for $500,000 when really they're just needing to meet to a couple of people for a KPI that they have. So yeah, ask just as much as assessing yourself, but also ask why they might be interested, because you might see a couple of them drop off. So if I just go to one or two more of these slides, I think what else would people want to do? I think that's what might be interesting that I did put as another slide here, the grant service. So, understanding that there are different grants, making sure that you know that if you've got some interest, if you've got people that are starting to say, hey, I'm interested in developing this more, having an entire path, understanding maybe that you've got to do some work first, but maybe in collaboration or with somebody, with a new investor, maybe that actually now unlocks access to other funding, other government grants and assistance. It's always useful to at least show that you've got that. So, yeah, more than happy with some other questions. I did, the questions that we were having, that people were getting a lot out of it. I think that it was great that people had a plan to engage with Myriad, but I think also being open to those opportunities probably was a useful process. There's probably some other information that we've got that others that we've got feedback that we would love. So if you've got feedback on Myriad and what maybe even makes it a better experience for you, there's always that. We've got some of that information that people have passed on that we're more than happy to pass on to Myriad. But from an event, from a multi-day event, I've got to say that it was it seemed to be, from everyone that I spoke to, quite a fantastic event and very interesting, very inspirational speakers. So, any other questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this follows on from what you spoke about, but Sam would like to know, what do other innovators look for when they're looking to engage, and how can I attract the right connections?
Yeah, if you're wanting to engage with another innovator or somebody that's going to come along, maybe you've got a great idea, but you need to work with somebody else to help you get it out to market. You might not know how to code exactly everything or have all the answers. I think that's where if you're collaborating with others, from what I've seen with for some, depending on what it is, it can really be around what impact or what real change is your new innovation going to do, and it not necessarily is around raising millions or billions of dollars. I've certainly seen in working and speaking with an accelerator. It's not in Queensland, but certainly with a group that they all got into this accelerator program, but in talking to one another about what their great idea was, and once they were inside the accelerator, they actually found that 3 of the groups got together to create a new product. And it was because it was in more of a social enterprise area, but they could really see that when they combined a lot of their knowledge together, they could really make an impact. So it's not always going to be around how can I quickly afford my Ferrari, I'd be talking to them around how this really aligns with them. It could be that they've got a great new platform technology or a new app, and they need to show that they can apply that app to a new problem, and show that it actually works. So maybe they're looking for their first customer, even though you're a small idea yourself. You could be potentially the first customer or the example that they can use, so that it's not just I have an idea, but here's our idea, and we actually turned that idea into a solution, and here is the product. So yeah, I'd be always open to talking with other people around how you can how together you're helping one another. So
Great. And this is probably an interesting one as well, about dealing with pitching. Caleb would like to know, is it poor etiquette to pitch to someone at these events? So how do you not come across as a salesperson and capture that interest naturally?
And it's a really good one, because this comes towards some of the areas that they don't really necessarily talk about all of this, though. It's all around the technology and how smart you can be. But this comes to what everyone will talk of: emotional intelligence. When you sit there and understand when it's the right time or not. Is somebody just being interested? Are they nodding a lot, or are they really interested in what you're talking about? If they start to give information back, if you're providing some knowledge about your idea, or maybe you're starting to talk around the market and where it could impact the market, and they started to say, well, look, there's even other areas where this product could make really significant impact. Tell me more. If they're sort of saying those things through the way they're engaging with you, I would probably ask permission. I would say, well, I won't do it as a formal pitch, but I do have some of my pitch that I've always got prepared that I could present to you. I think that is okay. Maybe just ask permission, or if now's not the right time, would there be a right time when we could make a formal meeting? I think that's a great one, because I can relay from another one of my colleagues that was saying that they were out recently at dinner and talking with a group of people, and the person was saying, "Oh, well, I don't really need to pitch. That's just what young startups do." And they'd been talking about their idea, and it was funny because one of the other people that was at the dinner said, "Well, actually, I'm a venture capitalist, and I really am interested in it, and I'd like to hear your pitch." So you only have those times once. So yeah, I think it doesn't hurt to have your pitch prepared and to continue to keep practicing it, but just ask permission. I think that's how at least you don't just go into the sales, because it can be horribly bad, and you're sitting there smiling and your coffee's getting cold and you just really, really are not interested. That wastes everyone's time. So, and that can really set you up, as I've said for many years, in this game as well. You probably only have one bucket of credibility, and it's really, really easy. It doesn't matter how good your technology is, you can really pour all that credibility out very quickly, and other people will talk, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, have you seen that Cameron? He's crazy. He just will pitch at anything. He'll pitch at a plant pot if it doesn't move for 10 minutes." So that can be really bad, because then people are talking about you and not necessarily about your technology and what it can do in the market. I think we might probably just do like one or two more if there are. I think we've I don't want to labour the point. If there's one or two more questions, then I think that might be.
No problem. It's also about preparation, actually. So Ford would like to know, how much presence preparation should you do prior to going into these type of events? So how much how much of a social media following should you garner? What kind of website presence should you have? Should I have before I start engaging?
It is. That is the useful thing that is out there. That you have got these platforms that can cost you not a lot to at least get something up. We do these days Google everyone. That's go and people are hunting and searching. So, and they're using Facebook. They are using all these different platforms to be able to rate and assess people. Maybe it's are you looking at YouTube, second largest market to look for people and for expertise. So I would honestly say, so long as you've done some of the market assessment to understand that, understand the pain points in your industry. You know, if you've done a little bit of value proposition work, it's not just on, I've thought of a fantastic idea, I don't know where it would apply yet, but I'm sure everyone will want it. So long as you're further on from that, I really don't mind. I would think it would make sense to have at least a small digital footprint, credibility footprint, going out talking to people, so that you, when you're talking to people, you can say, well, I've put this out online. I've actually done a YouTube how to use this, and I've had 70 people follow it. And it does give you a little bit more credibility. I don't know that you always have to go to hype, because you can always buy friends. You know, you can have 1,000 likes on Facebook within a couple of minutes. So there's not lots. You know, when it's coming down to big deals, I don't necessarily say that there's heaps of weight in it, but it absolutely can be useful for when you're trying to stand out of the pack, that there's everyone else pitching and trying to say that their idea is better. I think some of this can, some of that type of activity that is quite cheap to do, these days I think it's a definite useful strategy.
Great. So yeah, lucky last. Bo would like to know, as a regional business, how can I determine the value of going to an event like Myriad and determine whether investing the time, money, and travel to an event such as this will be worth it?
Yeah, that's a great question, because, you know, there is so much, you know, starting an idea, trying to forge your idea or grow your company is expensive. And, you know, it's not just the money, it's also the time. I would be looking, as you start to see who's coming from the event, I would talk to other people, whichever region you're in, go and chat to the people in your region, that, because somebody would have gone to it. There would definitely, even if it's the practice managers or the community managers or whomever it is in these different regions, there would have been somebody from your region that's gone to it. Have a chat to them, talk to them about what stage you're up to and what stage you're at, and whether this is a useful event. Hear their stories and what they've got out of it, because you wouldn't say that it's useful for everyone. I don't think it's useful at every stage for people to be going to that. I think, you know, if you're a bit early and you're still trying to prove the product, this event is good for when you've really got some solid grounding. You understand maybe your value proposition. You might have some early clients out there. That is a time when you're really able to use this to talk to people about what you've got and what's emerging and what's really quite exciting about your idea, and engaging with your community or your tribe. That's where I think this is useful. Going along, or if it's very early stage, just to be learning and soaking in new ideas around how you might take your idea and do something with it, I think that's useful. But that's how I would gauge it, because yes, you can never say to everyone, "Yep, jump on a plane," because it's quite expensive, and sometimes there are more important things to do. So, but overall, it's been, from everyone that I've spoken to, that they were very excited about it, and it did deliver for a lot of people. You know, sometimes I heard, you know, not every speaker was what they wanted, but I love the fact that so many people said those serendipitous moments when they had a free half hour or a free hour and they listened to somebody else. They got so much insight. So I think that's also the value of it. So thank you.
My pleasure. All right. I think we'll have to end it there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Cameron, for your insight. Myriad has become an icon in the Queensland innovation ecosystem, and understanding how to get the most out of it can really help your business. Thank you, everyone, for attending today's webinar. Remember to please download the handouts before you exit, and stay in touch with Innovate Queensland via the Grid group on LinkedIn, so you can find out more about our future webinars and Innovate Queensland events. The Grid program is about helping you and with the implementation of innovation in your business. So we'll send you out a short survey, and you use your responses to tailor the Grid program to meet your needs and interests. So everyone, see you next time on the Grid. Have a great day.